Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to J is for Justice. Good morning. It is Saturday, May the 10th. Can you believe it? Happy early Mother's Day to all the mothers this weekend. I hope you've made it your Mother's Day weekend instead of just Mother's Day. And I want to give a special thank you to Della for becoming a member of the Clicker crew. Welcome in, girl. Come on in and get comfy because we're about to go over some bombs. Hello, Miss Tato. I've missed you in the chats. Good morning. What you're looking at is very scary. It's one of the latest selfies of Bryan Kohberger that was released. Hello, Olip. You're up early. Hi, Kels. Hi, Jax. Hey, Lady Tiger Official. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. I just got the best coffee from Circle K. It's s'mores. They call it s'mores, and it literally tastes like kind of like hot cocoa, but with like vanilla and marshmallow. Oh, it's really good. You need to know what's going on with this creep town, dude. All right, so I'm going to need y'all to be patient this morning. Hi, Snazzy. Hi, Patty P. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Cranky. Are you cranky this morning? I hope not. So there were several bombs. So the thing is, we have to be patient this morning. Hi, Crimeology. Good morning. Good morning, Cooter Clickers. Hi, Cramit. STL. It's a good day today. Yes, live chat reminder. I just had to do it. So I'm going to be pausing because I don't have the timestamps from last night. Let me check one more time. I don't think I do, but oh, I do. Oh, tell Auntie Cheryl, I love you. Auntie Cheryl, I freaking love you. We do have timestamps. Woohoo! Welcome in, Naomi. Welcome in, Aristocat. Good morning. Good morning, YouTube. All right, so we do have timestamps. Let's get into it. You guys hit that like button. So what we're watching is a replay. We were on Kick. Wait, actually, I want to see how many of you actually watched this yet. Put a 1 in chat if you've already watched the Dateline. Put a 2 if you haven't seen it yet. Good morning, Crystal. Hi, Nicole. What if you were talking to Bryan Kohberger? Like, let's say you were the pool party girl and he sent you that selfie. What's up, Butter? Good to see you again. 222, haven't seen Shiz. Ooh, nice. Late Girl was with us last night. Do or did he? 222. Oh, wow. Damn. This is going to be new for a lot of you. Exciting. Okay, awesome. I know you were there, Butter. 1 on Kick. No, he didn't send her that. I just was saying, like, imagine getting that. Like, what a jump scare. Like, hey, baby. No, he didn't send her that. Olive, I know you were there. All right, cool. I'm excited because a lot of people haven't seen this. So that's even more exciting. So we're going to go ahead and switch this up a second. 31 seconds in. Oh, gosh. Auntie Cheryl just really saved my life tonight. Hopefully these timestamps line up. 31 seconds in. See, these timestamps aren't matching up now. Damn it. 31:29. I'm wondering if it's different because we were live, No, here we go. Okay. August 16th. Okay. 3129. Okay, this is where we're going to start. Hey, green-eyed. Hi, Pandy. President Trump negotiated a ceasefire. Hallelujah. I hope you get some relief soon, Pandy. Look at the time on the clock. Right. Okay, so let's start with this. This is the balcony. So what I gathered from this as well is this is the house where the pumpkins were on the ledge, right? The next door neighbors. You're welcome, Olive. I'm glad you're here. If you notice, they have this labeled balcony. So this tells me that they not only had this camera, but they had others because they named them. So we know there was other footage, if you will, that had audio because you can hear the car in this audio. And they have it labeled balcony. I thought that was interesting. I'm sure there's a lot more footage than what we know about. Good morning, Niners. Good morning, Ree. Good morning, everybody just joining. No foul play. Now, I'm going to be pausing, though, because of copyright issues. I don't want the stream to get messed up. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull up a separate window so I can keep an eye on that in case I get a warning. But I really, really, really want to share this stuff with you. This is... Hold on. I think Steve Gonsalves did an interview. Oh, he did on News Nation. After the Dateline. So I don't know what he thought of it. We'll have to check that out. But anyways, let me pull up the studio so I can make sure. Is the stream running smooth? Are we good? I'm hoping. Hey, Danny, Knox girl. Hey, Knox girl, are you in Tennessee? Did you hear or did you feel the earthquake this morning? Candy Kaboom, good morning. All right, guys, here we go. This is going to be the first thing is going to be about him car speeding away from the murder site. And if we go back, here we go.
Of the evidence, sources we trust. What new information? Well, this, for example.
Let me slow that shit down. Damn.
Never before publicly seen security videos that show a white car circling the block that terrible night, pulling up to the house just before the murders occurred, and speeding away after. And these never before seen photos from Bryan Kohberger's phone.
Okay, so these are kind of like, this is the preview, right? So let me mute it and let's look at these selfies too. But there's him driving like a bat out of hell. Hey, Cal. Oh, I'm looking at Kick last night. Look at him driving like a bat out of hell. At 4:20 and 50 seconds. See that timestamp? He's really speeding away. I'm going to mute it and replay that footage so you guys can see it. This is regular speed right here. Hey, preppy bestie. Okay, and then now is going to be the leaving right here. He was out of there. So there's one selfie that they found in his phone. These were from the hooded ones were on December the 21st. And he had just gotten done watching a YouTube video about Ted Bundy. Oh, the Korean girl Lucid was nuts. Okay, so there's one selfie. There's a second selfie. These were December the 21st. Right. So, Potato, do we think that he saw Dylan or do we think that he didn't see her? Because there was another bomb dropped that he actually sat down after killing Xana and Ethan. And then here's more selfies he took. And remember when they did the search warrant in PA, they took this WSU hoodie and the stocking cap. Did he almost hit someone? I don't know. Was there another car there? I don't see any cars on the road, Olive. Let me play it real slow. Okay. Oops. Let's slow it down because we have between 3:33 a.m. and 4:07. We have, or 4 o'clock. We have him going by the house like 5 times, at least on here. So now I'm slowing down that footage. So take a closer look. I don't think he saw her. I feel like he would have taken her out too. True. That's what I was saying last night. I'm like, I'm not sure if he was exhausted, if he would have like just gotten the hell out. But this Dateline did a 3D rendition of the house. And literally you can see the angle, the step. It's amazing. Just hold on. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. This is a lot. It was a 2-hour show, guys. Okay, so there it is, 3:58. This is him driving away from their house towards the intersection. If you were to go left at this intersection, Jack lived right there to the left. And then if you go right, you go to Taylor Road. So here's the first turnaround at 3:58. Keep your eye on the clock in the top right corner because they show several different clips. 3:33, there's 3. He comes and goes. But this is the 3:58 3-point turn, I think. This is 4:06. He's again going that same way. Then he does that turn because he goes to the left. So he's going towards Jack's house right now. Like his headlights just went on Jack's house. This is 4:20. This is him leaving at a high rate of speed right here. And that's slowed down to 0.25. And that's it. Kohberger and coffee. Hello, tinfoil. The amount of energy exerted in such a short amount of time, his body was probably done. Well, that's what Dr. Gary said, right? And Dr. Gary was in this as well. All of our favorite doctors. Okay, here we go. Let's keep listening.
Learn from our sources about a previously unreported brutality.
I think it's a clue there was a special anger toward that male.
And those same sources close to the investigation have told us which one of the 4 victims they believe was the intended target. 21-year-old Maddie Mogan.
What in the world would make anybody want to target Maddie of all people in the way you describe her?
So we have Ashlyn Couch's mom is on here too. Hey, Cheech.
She's so beautiful.
Maybe an ideal for someone who couldn't have that ideal.
Angela Neveas considered Maddie a member of her family. Her daughter Ashlyn was Maddie's best friend.
All right, I'm going to pause it for a second because I have to. You're in the UK and haven't been able to watch it. You can watch it on my Kick in its entirety, guys. Here, I'll give you the link. I don't know, Ramblin' Red Rose. It'll be interesting to find out, though.
The young women grew up together in Coeur d'Alene, about an hour and a half north of Moscow. Both attended the University of Idaho and were roommates in that big 6-bedroom house just a block from campus at 1120.
So, Ashlyn Couch, I'm just going to skip over this part. You guys can watch it. But Ashlyn Couch actually was supposed to be there that night. And her mom rerouted her flight on Friday and asked Ashlyn to stay and watch the dogs. So Ashlyn was at home. Hi, Texas Ranger. Good to see you, buddy. I know who killed you. 4:06, he was still driving and speeds away at 4:20. Yep, he did. I know who killed you. He did it fast. He did it fast. Wait till you see the rendition. We're going to skip forward now to 5402.
On August 16th, 6 weeks after Kohberger arrived in the area, records from his phone obtained by Dateline and in possession of law enforcement show that Kohberger Googled the name of the notorious serial killer Ted Bundy.
Okay, so August 16th is going to become a really important date for us. Yeah, you don't need a Kik account. It's free. There's no commercials. Hey, party of one. Good morning, everybody. Make sure you save that link because you can watch that over there. We can watch anything over there. We can play music over there, and they don't do anything to you. So it's a really good place to watch this kind of stuff. But he Googled Ted Bundy August the 16th.
Although with a misspelling of the name and the name of one of Kohberger's professors at Washington State.
He misspelled Ted Bundy and Googled one of his professors.
And then downloaded a paper written by that same professor called Ted Bundy on the Malignant Being, an analysis of the justificatory discourse of a serial killer.
So he downloaded this professor's paper. This is all on August 16th.
In other words, how serial killers justify themselves. Was it part of Kohberger's research for school? Or, as profiler Cooper speculates, something else?
He can't achieve that level of power, domination, and control within his own life. And so he looks to those that emulate those characteristics of success that he's determined to follow and has decided, I can do this.
Okay, so does that also fit not only with him requesting and downloading the paper of this other professor, but also with Dr. Catherine Ramsland? Texas, I think I think the fight was pretty intense in Xana's room. Hey, Frag. Hey, everybody just join in. Good to see ya.
That search regarding Ted Bundy was far from the only Bundy-related item on Kohberger's phone.
Look how he spelled it. Watch.
He's determined to follow and has decided, I can do this.
That search regarding Ted Bundy was far from the only...
He spelled it Ted and then instead of a B, H7NDY.
Bundy-related item on Kohberger's phone, but more about that later. That same day, August 16th, Maddie Mogan posted this photo on Instagram.
This is all the same day, y'all. This is all August the 16th. We got the Ted Bundy paper downloaded. We've got him Googling Ted Bundy. And then we have August 16th, the same day, the girls take this photo at 5:19. Remember, this is also when the police got called on them for the noise complaint this day. What's up, Kurt? Uncivil laws in the house. What's up, dude? How you doing? What's up, Agent Tempest? Good to see ya.
Showing her and all of her 4 roommates on King Road. Dylan Mortensen, Xana Kernodle, Bethany Funk, Kaylee, and Maddie.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
And then later, at 5:30 p.m.
You know over here?
And I see noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
15 minutes after they posted that picture, the cops were there. Put a 1 if you think Kohberger was the one calling the cops on them. Not only to fuck with them, maybe to get him out of the house so he could go in. Did he ever sneak in during these calls? When all the kids were, freaking out and all in one room because the cops were outside? Did he see the selfie and did he get mad and call the police on them? Was he there watching? Was he back in that parking lot? Oh, yeah, this is the same day he gets pulled over, too, Potato. August 16th. This was a big day. This was a big day. Yes, Potato. A lot of the stuff we thought is coming to fruition.
That is Kaylee Gonsalves talking to officers on police body cam. The house on King Road had been the regular setting for large parties and noise complaints.
Hey, ladies, how's it going?
Like this party, where none of the actual residents was even present.
So I just looked for everyone that lived here, and they're not here right now.
All right, can you hear me, Maddie?
Although officers eventually did reach Maddie Mogan on the phone.
I'm just frustrated. I'm also so sorry once again.
So was it possible that someone who wanted to could have slipped into the house during that or some other party unnoticed? We ran that idea by Ashlyn's mother, Angela.
Do you think it's possible that Kohberger attended parties there?
No. They're not going to let somebody of his age in that house, period. And if there was somebody that they didn't know, they kicked him out. Because my husband and I watched it firsthand.
So I don't know what she meant by this, that her and her husband watched them kick people out. Reptile, you need to just chill. They play audio. There are screams, okay? Chill. We have to get through the show. It was 2 motherfucking hours. Take a deep breath. Okay. She said my husband and I had watched it firsthand. Them kicking older kids out of the house. So I'm not sure. Tahoe, you're not going to convince me that Dateline is a joke. Okay? You're going to see in the trial that this is evidence. So sit there and blame these girls all you want, you weirdo. I think it's weird that you do that. You blame everyone but Kohberger. And who's going to fucking set Kohberger up? The dude couldn't even make a friend, let alone an enemy. Who the hell's going to kill people and blame it on him? I mean, come on.
5 days after that party, at this intersection, less than 2 miles from the house on King Road, a deputy stopped and ticketed Kohberger for failing to wear a seatbelt.
There we go, August 16th. Pulled over the same day. We got Ted Bundy. We got the girls getting the cops called on them. And then we've got him in Moscow getting pulled over. Creeping around. Yeah, the mad Greek boss was on here too.
5 days after that party, at this intersection, less than 2 miles from the house on King Road, a deputy stopped and ticketed Kohberger for failing to wear a seatbelt. It was 11:40 p.m. Then, 5 days after that, on August 26th, Kohberger Googled, "When can a cop detain you?"
On August 26th at 2:16 a.m., he Googled, "When can a cop detain you?" You would think that he would know that, right? Hey, first, last.
What he's doing is testing what the protocol is for the police officer and comparing that to what his experience was.
Ooh, did you hear that?
When can a cop detain you?
What he's doing is testing what the protocol is for the police officer and comparing that to what his experience was.
Because remember, he was detained that night. He was pulled over. What's up, Marco? I love Dateline. They're not going to put out fake evidence. So the Kohbergers are reaching at this point. The Kohbergers are really reaching. Hi, John McCall.
But information about detainment and due process were not the only Google searches on that phone. He is Googling phrases related to pornography. His searches include the words forced, passed out, drugged, sleeping. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, it's not just that on civil law. My defense lawyer here. You're a defense lawyer, right? Or appeal lawyer? I can't remember. But it's not just the Google searches. It's everything. It all adds up. Just take a deep breath.
Interesting, isn't it? These are all themes of power, domination, and control.
But now, late in August, school was starting at WSU in Pullman. He was part of a PhD cohort and ready to begin work on becoming Dr. Bryan Kohberger.
As if that's not a scary thought. Okay, let's move on to our next segment. This is where it gets creepy, dude. Oof. Okay. So Bryan Kohberger actually shared an office with a young Korean girl. Criminal isn't your main bag. You're civil, right? Civil law. Civil appeals. Hey, uncivil law, since you're here, did you hear about the anti-slap against the YouTuber Granny's Watching and the TikToker barbecue lady, that they were sued civilly by Sebastian Rogers, missing Sebastian Rogers, his father, and Dog the Bounty Hunter, and Joseph Lesniak was their lawyer in Pennsylvania. Did you hear about that? I would love to send you the lawsuit because they won the first anti-slap in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania just enacted the anti-SLAPP like last July, and this frivolous lawsuit came across in October, and they just got their anti-SLAPP granted just a few weeks ago. I would love for you to go over it and show what a joke it is. Let me know. I can email it to you. Okay, so this part is about the Korean woman. She shared an office with, oh yeah, it's a mess on civil law. It's crazy. I'd love for you to take a look at it. Deb K, just a question. I'm not a pro-burger, but could this cause a mistrial for putting all this out before trial? No. A lot of times, like, these shows are done, like Lori Vallow Daybell. So what they do, right, and uncivil law can kind of back this up. That's why they have jury selection and questions, right? So it's not automatically, you're not going to be thrown from the jury just because you've heard of this case or you've watched Dateline on this case. That's why they do all the questions they do. So the defense has, has fair chance to also say, no, I don't want this juror. So I don't think that I don't think necessarily everybody watches these kind of shows either. Yeah, I've never heard of a problem with it. It does seem weird, right? Because they're leaking evidence. So maybe uncivil law has some thoughts on that. I don't know. There's just always seems to be leaks. But let's get into this woman. She shared an office with Kohberger at WSU. This is the one who had things moved around in her apartment and also had the security system put in by Bryan Kohberger. And there was a language barrier because she's Korean. This is really creepy. Take a listen. Guys, I don't know if you get commercials or not. I don't know how they're monetized.
Didn't go well.
He was very demanding. He felt he was the smartest person in the room, and he wanted his students to approach somewhere his level of expertise, and they resented this.
In our reporting, we've heard complaints about Kohberger, accusations of sexism, for one thing. Maddie Mogan's friend Katie heard about it, too, from students she employed.
This is Maddie Mogan's boss.
At her clothing store.
So there's a girl that she said that
I thought she was Mad Greek. She's the clothing store that Maddie worked for.
Never ever gotten a CE before in my life. That in that class, it was very known that Bryan Kohberger had a problem with women.
Another student told us that Kohberger seemed to enjoy belittling a professor who sometimes struggled with English usage. She is the same professor who had written the paper about Ted Bundy.
He would belittle the professor.
He would talk about this, it seemed almost obsessively.
Kohberger's only known friend at WSU turned out to be someone with whom he shared an office and the graduate student apartment complex. A woman from Korea, Na Young Ko.
It's very difficult for anyone to understand why any two people are attracted. But from the reporting I've done, they both were outsiders.
So these two actually became quote-unquote friends. Good morning, Christy. Good morning, PJ. Dude, this woman stayed the night at his house. This woman stayed the night with him because she was scared.
Two young people far from home. Who could blame them? Two sources familiar with the relationship characterized it in a similar way.
She told people she, quote, felt something about Kohberger. And at one point, she approached him as if she wanted a romantic relationship, and he pulled away, that she felt she wasn't good enough for him.
This is crazy.
That's about the same time Kohberger was browsing these photos of women.
Green-eyed, I don't know if there's a police report, but I'm sure there is, but that would all be part of the investigation, right? We wouldn't be able to see that.
Women on his phone. Dateline has obtained dozens of these photos. Many of them got to Kohberger's phone from Instagram. We've blurred the photos of the women for obvious reasons. But there are blondes and brunettes, and many in bathing suits. Some from WSU, others from the University of Idaho, including close friends and Instagram followers of Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Zanika Nodal, three of the roommates on King Road.
Hey, Flo, welcome in. Hey, Amy, good morning.
The idea is you're studying them.
Dr. Gary Brucato is a clinical and forensic psychologist, a researcher and author. He's the
Related by looking at people who in his mind have these characteristics and fuel the fantasy.
Whatever that fantasy was for Bryan Kohberger, or if he had any at all, we don't know. But history shows that potential serial killers progress, engage in escalating forbidden behaviors. peeping into windows, to entering homes uninvited, collecting personal things. And that's why this story about Kohberger's classmate Na Young Ko stands out. It happened 2 months before the murders, September 10th, 2022, in her apartment.
Okay, so 2 months before the murders, this is what happened with the Korean girl.
She felt there was a break-in, and she discovers this step by step. First, she had baked a cake. She left it on the oven because it got burnt. She was going to throw it out. She comes into the house, and she finds it's in the microwave. Then she goes into the bathroom. Her cosmetics were all on a shelf, and now they've been lined up in a neat row on the top of the toilet seat.
Would you freak the hell out if you went into your house, you had baked a cake, you put it on the top of the stove, and you come back in, and that shit's in the microwave? And then you come in and your makeup is on your toilet seat? Oh, hell to the no. Mm-mm.
Then Ko discovered 2 items were missing. Prized possessions, a watch, and a personal letter.
2 things missing, a watch and a personal letter. Now, those of you who were with me going through Josco, remember Josco was wearing a watch. Just saying. Don't know if they ever found her watch. Don't know if they ever found the personal letter. But she had shit missing.
And here she was alone, and really, she's scared.
It was also 2 o'clock in the morning. Who could she call at that hour?
Bryan Kohberger.
Well, the night owl, Bryan Kohberger, of course.
She's afraid to stay there. She goes to his apartment. They spend the night together. There's nothing romantic, but she stays there and she feels comfortable. It's only later that she begins to put the pieces together, and she begins to think, well, maybe Bryan knew about the letter I had received. He knew about the watch. Could he have taken them?
And then a source told Bloom something else occurred to Na Young Ko. The day before this theft, she hadn't been able to find the key to her apartment.
The day before all that happened, she couldn't find the key to her apartment.
Key usually kept in a drawer at her office.
Oh, my God. She kept her house key in her drawer at the office she shared with Bryan.
The office she shared with Bryan Kohberger.
She tells Bryan, he says, I don't know, I haven't seen anything. And then suddenly, a couple of hours later, the key materializes in her office drawer.
Whoa. So she questions him like, oh my God, I can't find my house key or whatever. And then a couple hours later, boom, it ends up in the drawer. I have goosebumps. That girl's lucky to be alive.
Ko was worried. She bought a security system for her apartment, one she could check on her phone. And when the installation proved to be a little too complicated for her, again, she called Kohberger.
And he installs the thing and he gets it working. And it's only later she begins to wonder, was this on Bryan's phone too? Could he look on his phone and see what was happening in my apartment?
Inside looking. Inside looking.
Working. And it's only later she begins to wonder, was this on Bryan's phone too? Could he look on his phone and see what was happening in my apartment? She realizes that this person she had called in her moment of need and desperation might now be not only spying on her, but also perhaps the perpetrator who had taken the valuables originally.
Later, Na Young Ko told law enforcement about her suspicions. We asked to speak with her. She declined.
So she did go to law enforcement. Who knows why she kept it in her drawer? Maybe it was a spare key. Maybe she had one on her key ring and kept one in her office drawer. I mean, that would make sense.
Perpetrator who had taken the valuables originally.
Later, Na Young Ko told law enforcement about her suspicions. We asked to speak with her. She declined comment. What that incident at her apartment was all about, we may never know, or whether Kohberger was behind it all or got some satisfaction from it. But we do know that his life at WSU was not going well. A month into the semester, he'd had an altercation with a professor.
Oh, more problems for Blowberger.
And he would just rear up in fights. He would lose his temper.
The move west didn't seem to be going well, unless, of course, to him, it was.
Okay, that's that part. Let's move on to 111. Here we go. There we go.
Road. Bryan Kohberger's life seemed stressful. The new acquaintances who were avoiding him, who found him strange. The undergrads in his classes who were complaining about him. The colleagues who found him difficult. At the end of September 2022, the dean asked to see him to discuss norms of professional behavior. Retired FBI profiler Greg Cooper has observed similar patterns of distress often in cases that end in murder.
These are what we refer to as precipitating stressors and triggering events.
On September 30th, as phone records reveal, Kohberger Googled sociopathic traits in college student.
So what was the date on that one?
Stressors and triggering events.
On September 30th, as phone records reveal, Kohberger Googled sociopathic traits in college student.
Sociopathic traits in college students.
If an individual is starting to notice that they're having a hard time having feelings towards other people, you might try to look it up and understand it to make sense out of it.
Forensic psychologist Dr. Gary Brucato.
Now, you do have somebody who is studying criminology, so it's entirely possible that he's reading about it because he's learning about offenders. But it's impossible to say.
Impossible to say what was in Kohberger's mind. But those FBI records may hold clues. They show Kohberger's phone popping up 3 more times in the first 2 weeks of October, hitting the cell tower.
3 times in the first, what did he say?
Mind. But those FBI records may hold clues. They show Kohberger's phone popping up 3 more times in the first 2 weeks of October.
In the first 2 weeks of October. 3 times. Hey, Big T. Hey, Lisa Hummer.
Hitting the cell tower within 100 meters of the house at 1122 King Road in Moscow. Again, all after dark. Telling a story, said Dr. Brucato.
See, I think what we need to do, too, is we need to go back to October and see what was going on in October, the first 2 weeks of October. Because this, hey, Heather, good to see you. It's nice because this really gives us a timeline of events.
And based on his training and long experience, he speculates this way.
One imagines a predatory animal in increasingly small loops around the victim, moving closer and closer, building up one's nerve.
Have you seen examples of this sort of behavior? Other examples?
It's very typical of men who are motivated by sexual fantasy. It looks pretty motiveless and strange.
Big T, it might be on the other channel, hon.
Like a random targeting of a house. But it has to do with that the person that is living inside has caught your eye as filling the role perfectly of your fantasy.
We don't know how any of the women in that house caught Kohberger's eye, or if he stopped during any of those drives of his near the house. But if he did...
You'd expect that he went to the backyard, for example, and possibly looked through the window.
Murphy, you've been a bad boy!
Certainly it would not have been difficult to see the women, or even study them, or the house, based on their almost constant posting on social media.
The other possibility, of course, is that you're using things like TikTok videos, because for people like this, everything is...
This is really interesting right here. So what he's about to talk about is how by watching people's, like if you really are watching someone, like their TikToks, you see the inside of their house, you see the setup, you see the furniture, you see the windows, you see what's got coverings, what doesn't. You can see a lot, right? And you can pause on them and all that stuff. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Cinda.
Intel. You know, there's a door there. There's a lock. Look, there's a dog. The window's open. Look at what time of day it is, and there are people there, etc. And it's all about fact gathering.
You guys, it's 8. Gotta go.
And cell records Dateline has obtained show that at the same time, in early October, a month before the murders, Kohberger was still browsing images of women from WSU and the University of Idaho.
So beginning of October, he was still saving pictures and things like that. Hey, Big T, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Now you're green. Yay. Thank you for your support. Oh, yeah, there was tons of women on here, not just them. Thank you so much, She Who Sees. 6 months of membership. Thank you so much. Oh, my God. This is all facts, love always. What are you talking about? Why are you disappointed in Dateline? T-Dub, what's up? Hey, Core.
On his phone, Google searches were made for pornography containing the keywords drugged and sleeping. Then,
oh, yeah,
October
because
14th,
that's not creepy. I don't know what kind of pornography they're talking about, but that's freaking weird. That's not creepy, right?
On his phone, Google searches were made for pornography containing the keywords drugged and sleeping.
Yuck.
Then, October 14,
Hello, I am Officer Langus. Stops being audio.
Bryan Kohberger was pulled over for the second time in 7 weeks, this time for running a red light on the WSU campus. The stop captured on police body.
That's all they can do is speculate, love always. They can't say anything as a fact. They are big mad. Wait, this is for pro burgers. The pro burgers are always...
Everybody all big mad. Always big mad.
Body cam.
You're not supposed to block an intersection like that in Washington.
Kohberger was courteous, explained he was from out of state.
Yeah, I'm from Pennsylvania. We actually don't have like crosswalks. I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do apologize if I was asking you too many questions about the law. I wasn't trying to like.
No, not at all. Like I understand you're not from here.
She was very professional. She didn't challenge him. She didn't make him feel subordinate to her.
Have a good day.
5 days after that traffic stop, Kohberger Googled these words. Can psychopaths behave pro-socially?
He Googled another Google.
And feel subordinate to her.
Have a good day.
5 days after that traffic stop, Kohberger Googled these words. Can psychopaths behave pro-socially?
He's researching.
Tony, he was so jealous because they were getting play. Kohberger couldn't get no play. Tony, do you relate with that or some shit? Because, yeah, he was big jealous. Yeah, he was. Big jealous and always felt like a failure. He looked at himself in the mirror and saw a big sack of meat.
He's understanding, becoming more familiar with psychopathic characteristics.
Was this search related to schoolwork or his own sense of self? We don't know. But then he Googled his own name 4 times in a span of 13 days.
He Googled his own name 13 times. So was he setting it up to make it look like somebody framed him? Oh, who was Googling my name before this even happened? The person that set me up. Remember we went over the Google Trends? Remember Bryan Kohberger brought to our attention via Ann Taylor in the very beginning about Google Trends? Do you remember that? He wanted us all to go look how many times the victims' names were Googled and what dates. Do you remember that? It's not just about Google search history. It's everything. Megan, they must be in his data. Put me in, coach.
As November began, he took this photo of a snowy parking lot outside his apartment.
Okay, let's look at that photo.
Googled his own name 4 times in a span of 13 days.
Oh, 4 times in 13 days he Googled his own name.
As November began, he took this photo.
So November 1st at 9:36 p.m., he took this video of the snow. Why? We don't know. This is just a picture that they got from his phone. No one is saying that this picture makes him guilty, but they got some leaks from his phone.
Photo of a snowy parking lot outside his apartment. And then, on November 2nd, 11 days before the murders, he had a meeting at WSU.
So the very next day, he had the meeting where he was in more trouble.
To discuss what was called an improvement plan.
He got into a confrontation with one of the female students. He approached her while she was at her car, and she did not like the vibes.
So he's approaching students at their cars? What a creep burger. What kind of TA does that, right? Do you remember the Google Trends, D-Love of God? Yep. He wanted us to look at those trends.
Plan.
He got into a confrontation with one of the female students. He approached her while she was at her car, and she did not like the vibes he was sending off.
I wouldn't either.
That incident was reported to faculty. And then, on November 7th, in cell phone tower data collected by the FBI and obtained exclusively by Dateline, an agent found that Kohberger's phone again connected with that cell tower, showing he was within 100 meters of the house at 1122 King Road. And that made it a total of 23 trips.
Damn, 23 trips. My, thank you. I appreciate that. If you guys could hit that like button, that would be great. We only have 202 likes. We got 830 people in here. Explore Core, I think he did that because he wanted to make it look like someone set him up. Like someone else was Googling his name, right? It's all part of that game. Idaho Charlie, thank you for your $4.99 super chat. And Green Eyed PI, thank you for your super chat. Remember the questions he asked criminals online? Yes, that was the survey he put on Reddit. Alabama Mama, good to see you this morning. He does. His lips look just like Son of Sam. Danielle, I've been in that rabbit hole, man. It's weird. It's like he's a mix of all these different criminals in different, like, pictures. He runs with scissors and Alexis. Bundy used to do that, approach girls at their cars. Yes, he did. He sure did. Right, Googling his own name, like, who would have known me? You know what I mean? That would have been like something he could have said was, why would someone be Googling Bryan Kohberger? No one knew who I was. Hey, Michelle.
To that very same area in the 4 months before the murders, all after dark. Then, according to prosecutors, Kohberger stopped using his debit card on Thursday, November 10th. And the next day, the 11th, began employing what the state's experts call anti-forensic methods to clear evidence.
Okay, I wanted to see what this meant. So he stopped using his debit card. And then they're saying that he used anti-forensic methods to clear evidence. They located gaps in the PC's Chrome history. I can't read the whole thing, but it indicated that the user was private browsing or clearing browsing. Let's Google that. Anti-forensic techniques. Let's see exactly what the state would be talking about. Anti-forensic techniques are methods used to cover up or destroy digital evidence, making it harder for investigators to uncover malicious activity or criminal behavior. These techniques can include data deletion, alteration of timestamps, encryption, and hiding data within other files. Remember, he had a motherboard in his car or in his... Yes, it will be, Odessa. Hiding files within the NTFS files system metadata. Hiding data in unused portions of a file or disk space that the file system doesn't manage. Timestamp manipulation. Changing file timestamps to hide when a file was created, modified, or accessed. Spoofing system logs. Confusing forensic investigators by leaving false trails or hiding malicious activity in innocent files. Onion routing. Using encrypted networks like Tor to anonymize traffic, making it harder to trace the source or destination. And using tools to erase traces of their activities left behind. So it says here, anti-forensics, VPNs, time stopping, disk wiping, data encryption, and event logs are the 5 things.
From his school computer. The weekend ahead would be one no one would ever forget.
Okay, hold on. Let me get our next timestamp. $1:21.
The dogs.
How'd you feel about that?
Anthony Funk. And there might have been at least one more face in that photo if Maddie's best friend Ashlyn Couch had her way. Ashlyn had graduated a few months earlier, moved out of the house, and to save money, moved back to her parents' place in Coeur d'Alene. But that weekend, her parents were out of town, and they had asked a favor of Ashlyn.
So we were supposed to come in Friday night, and our flight actually got in on Saturday night because I rerouted our trip.
So this is Ashlyn Couch's mom. She used to live there a couple years prior, and she was Maddie Mogan's best friend.
And so you asked her to stay?
And she had to stay an extra day to watch the dogs.
How'd she feel about that?
I mean, she was bummed because it was a big game day.
Maybe because he didn't use his bank card after the 10th of November, Christy. I mean, if there was no transactions, he obviously stopped using it, right?
Has ever a favor asked by parents turned out to be such a godsend? Kickoff for senior day was 4:02 p.m.
Touchdown, Idaho!
So that was the game, right, at 4 in the afternoon on Saturday the 12th. Now we're into Saturday the 12th.
The game ended at 7:12. And less than an hour later, across the state line in Pullman, Washington, Bryan Kohberger was on his phone. At 8:08 p.m., records obtained by Dateline show, he was watching YouTube.
Oh,
then around 9 p.m.
He was motherfucking watching YouTube. Wait till you see what he was watching. We're going to watch what he watched.
Kaylee Gonsalves posted that group photo on Instagram. And in what would be the last social media post of her young life, Kaylee wrote, "One lucky girl to be surrounded by these people every day." That Saturday night, Ethan and Zana were attending a party at the nearby Sigma Chi fraternity. Kaylee and Maddie went to hang out at the Corner Club in downtown Moscow, arriving sometime after 10 p.m. 3.5 hours later, at 1:37 a.m., the two women left the bar together, walked a couple of blocks to a place called the Grub Truck, and got some food, as you can see in this video.
Welcome back.
At precisely 1:49 a.m., one of the women called for a young fraternity member who'd been assigned to help drive home.
This breaks my heart still. I hate this footage because seeing them laughing and carrying on like nothing. Uh-oh. My stream has been blocked. Okay, I think we're back. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Give me a 5x5 in chat if you can hear me now. It's back. We're back. We're back. You have to pause like every 2 minutes or every 2 seconds. But we'll get through it. I have timestamps, so we're not going to be able to just play it like we have been. Okay, so we're going to skip to, let's keep going here. I really wanted you guys to see this rendition. So I'm going to mute it. Watch this. This is their... Hang on a second. He says if she would have said one word, she would have been killed about Dylan. Okay, so this right here is the view from Dylan's room. Oops. This is the view from Dylan's room into the kitchen.
Walked away while she locked herself in the bedroom.
She knows something's wrong. She's under the influence of alcohol.
Okay, hang on. 3D recreation. Right here. I think. This is where, this is about the calls to dad. Can I turn on closed caption? I don't think this has it. I don't see it on Kick as an option.
A cell phone turned on.
Okay, so this is all right. So I'm gonna kind of commentate here. So right here, November 13th at 4:20, right? We had him speeding away. Now November 13th at 4:48, we have him turning his phone back on.
South of Moscow, and hit a cell tower that covered an area west of Blaine, Idaho. A phone that records show was tied to Bryan Kohberger. The signal moved west, and 32 minutes later at 5:20 a.m.
So 5:20 a.m., he's over in Johnson, Idaho. Okay.
2. A phone in Pennsylvania registered to 2 hours after the killer sped away from the murder scene. The call lasted 36 minutes. 2.
So it's 6:17 a.m. Bryan Kohberger called his dad. So hit all the pings, right? And then he goes back to Pullman. Phone's back on. And he calls his dad at 6:17 and talks for how many minutes?
6:17 a.m., nearly 2 hours after the killer sped away from the murder scene. The call lasted 36 minutes.
Yes, he sat down in a chair in Xana's room and left butt cheek prints or something in blood.
2. A phone in Pennsylvania registered to Bryan Kohberger's father. It appears that several family phones, including his mother's, are on the same account.
Sorry, I'm just pausing just to stay safe. So he called his dad 2 more times that morning.
In fact, records show that call was the first of 3 calls Kohberger made to the phone registered to his father.
3 calls to his dad that morning. Is this another Roberta Laundrie situation? Except he's calling his dad?
That morning.
God dang it. It happened again. Damn it. think we are back. Can you guys hear me? I think we're back. All right, we're back. All right, hold on. I'm going to see something here. You guys won't hear anything for a minute. Just give me a second.